Hello and welcome to Firstpost Spotlight, where we bring you stories that matter to you from all across the world. From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, we shed light on issues that shape our world. I'm Alison LaGrange, live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin with the top headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Gujarat says terrorism by Pakistan not a proxy war, but a well-planned war strategy, as the Indian leader underlines state funerals given by Pakistan to terrorists killed during India's Operation Sindoor. The US warns Indian students studying in American institutions of revocation of visa status if they skip classes, drop out, or leave their program of study without informing their institute. Japan accuses China of conducting unnotified maritime scientific research within its exclusive economic zone around its southernmost island in the Pacific Ocean. The European Union countries formally approve a new €150 billion loan program to help rearm in the face of Russian threats and worries over US reliability. And Nepal's Kami Rita scales Mount Everest for a record 31st time, breaking his own record for the most climbs to the world's tallest peak. Hello and welcome. We begin with the latest from the Indian subcontinent. In the recent years, Bangladesh, under the now ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, had emerged as an economic success story. The main driving force? Bangladeshi women and their entry into the workforce, both in the formal and informal sectors of the economy. But 9 months since Hasina's ouster from power, Bangladesh's hard-won women empowerment gains appear to be reversing under the interim leader, Muhammad Yunus. Data presented by Bangladesh's Centre for Policy Dialogue, or the CPD, shows that in the first half of the ongoing fiscal year, 2.1 million people lost their jobs in Bangladesh. Of this, about 86%, or 1.8 million jobs, were lost by the members of the female workforce. At the same time, employment conditions for women remain fragile across the sectors. Data shows that over 80% of women hold vulnerable jobs, characterized by low productivity and poor returns. Only 3% receive pensions or retirement benefits through employers. Nearly 2/3 of young women are classified as NEET, that is, neither in employment, education, nor training. Additionally, like most of the developing world, women in Bangladesh also bear a disproportionate burden of unpaid care work, limiting their paid employment opportunities. With the latest data as example, Bangladeshi experts point out that the country's gender empowerment progress is either plateauing or worse, it's reversing. That's because economic shocks like soaring inflation and falling investment have hit women first and hardest. And what's fueling those shocks? The ripple effect of Donald Trump's threatened tariffs and political instability since Hasina's fall. As Bangladesh hopes to go to polls between December of 2025 to June of 2026, experts insist that gender empowerment can't be a side note. It must be a frontline issue. Bangladesh under Sheikh Hasina sold the world a story of women-led growth, but today that story is unraveling. The numbers underscore a red line. With such reversal of women empowerment gains, has Bangladesh lost the plot of its once prized women-led economic sufficiency? Moving on, let's shift our focus to the United States, where Trump's big, beautiful budget bill has become a cause of major concern for Indian immigrants. Last week, the Republican-controlled U.S. House of Representatives passed a sweeping tax and spending bill by a single vote. This bill is said to enact much of President Donald Trump's policy agenda. The 1,000-page legislation would cancel many green energy incentives passed by former President Joe Biden, tighten eligibility for health and food programs for the poor, and fund Trump's crackdown on immigration.
Forward to the Senate's timely consideration of this once-in-a-generation legislation, we stand ready to continue our work together to deliver on the one big beautiful bill, as President Trump named it himself. We're going to send that to his desk. We're going to get it there by Independence Day on July 4th, and we are going to celebrate a new golden age in America. Thank you for being here.
But the part of the bill that has caused panic among the immigrant population is a 3.5% levy on international remittances from non-citizens. If this bill becomes a law, it could directly impact millions of Indians living and working in America. Many of these Indian immigrants send substantial portions of their earnings back home. India is the world's leading recipient of remittances, and according to the Reserve Bank of India, the United States is a crucial source, accounting for nearly 28% of these transfers. In 2023 to 24, remittances worth roughly $32 billion were transferred from the US to India. A study even suggested that Indians in America send 20% of their earnings home on average. Inward remittance to India has more than doubled since 2010, with the number crossing $100 billion in 2021. Many of these remittances come from Indian professionals on H-1B visas and green card holders, often working in high-paying sectors like tech and finance. The proposed tax was initially set at 5%, but later was reduced to 3.5%. Yet the bill is raising concerns. While Trump's ambitious bill still needs to pass the Republican-controlled Senate, and there's hope for further reductions or even elimination, the potential impact of the proposed legislation is clear. A rush of remittances is expected before the tax takes effect. This will be followed by a likely slowdown in inward remittances from the US and a potential increase in informal transfer methods to avoid the levy. For the Indian economy, the overall macroeconomic impact may be limited. However, the personal toll on Indian professionals in the United States could be substantial. This new tax adds to a growing list of challenges for Indian immigrants. This includes limited job opportunities, visa uncertainties, and rising living costs, especially for recent graduates burdened with educational loans. Now, this development raises questions about the future of the American dream for many Indians. While trade negotiations are ongoing between India and the US, their influence on this specific issue remains uncertain. We'll continue to monitor this story and bring you the latest updates as the bill moves through the US Senate. And let's turn our attention to the Philippines. According to a recent survey, more than half of Filipinos disagree with the arrest and turnover of former President Rodrigo Duterte to the International Criminal Court. A Pulse Asia survey conducted between the 6th of May and the 9th shows that a majority, 58% of Filipinos, disagree with the arrest of former President Duterte. Now, Duterte has been in ICC custody since March after being accused of a crime against humanity over his years-long campaign against drug users and dealers that reportedly killed as many as 30,000 people. As per the survey, only 26% of the respondents support his arrest and surrender, while 16% remain undecided. The regional breakdown reveals stark contrasts. Disapproval of Duterte's arrest is overwhelming in his home region of Mindanao at 96%. Visayas also shows strong disapproval at 60%, followed by the balanced Luzon at 42% and Metro Manila at 38%. Disagreement with Duterte's arrest was also higher across socio-economic classes. Now, the survey also indicates that Duterte maintains high trust ratings among the Filipinos, with 63% of respondents expressing trust in him. Now, this contrasts sharply with his successor, President Marcos's trust rating of 32%. Just like her father, Vice President Sara Duterte also enjoys a high trust rating of 50%. However, these results diverge significantly from a WR Numero survey that was conducted earlier from the 31st of March to the 7th of April. And that survey indicated that 62% of respondents believe it's important for Duterte to stand trial at The Hague, with 52% agreeing that he should be held accountable for crimes against humanity related to the drug war. In the recent midterm polls, Rodrigo Duterte won the mayoral seat of Davao by a landslide. He contested for the elections from the ICC prison in the Netherlands. Following his victory, the Department of the Interior and local government will seek clearance from the ICC to allow Duterte to take his oath of office as mayor of Davao City. However, Duterte will not be able to physically perform his duties as mayor due to his detention. Now, this means that Duterte's son, the vice mayor-elect Sebastian, will likely continue to serve as the city's chief executive. The next ICC hearing on the confirmation of charges on Duterte is set to begin on the 23rd of September 2025. The recent survey and results of the midterm polls have made it clear that despite his detention, Duterte is still enjoying high trust among Filipinos. Now the question remains, how will these public opinions further influence Duterte's case and the political landscape of the Philippines? And in our final story, we take you to Gaza, where the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas has claimed the life of 11-year-old Yakin Hamad, the girl who deployed social media to spread hope during times of a raging conflict. Known in Gaza for her bright smile and expressions of compassion, Yakin Hamad was killed last week during an Israeli strike in Deir al-Balah. She was killed during the same series of Israeli strikes last week that killed 9 of a pediatrician's 10 children, sparking outrage across the world. Yakin worked alongside her brother Mohammed, delivering food, toys and clothing to families displaced by the ongoing war. The duo often visited camps and makeshift shelters for the displaced families. In each place, Yakin tried to spread cheer and comfort to the children. In one video, she gave cooking tips for families without gas. In another, Yakin handed out ice creams to children at a makeshift camp. In her social media videos, Yakin underlined that she tries to bring a bit of joy to other children so that they can forget the war. As the news of Yakin's death spread online, there was an outpouring of messages from grief and tributes from activists, followers, as well as local journalists. Yakin Hamad, born in just 2014, is no more, but her killing in an Israeli strike has once again put the spotlight on war's severe toll on children in Gaza. According to the data cited by UNICEF, between October of 2024 to March of 2025, more than 15,000 children have been killed in Gaza. Over 34,000 have been injured, and nearly 1 million rendered displaced and deprived of basic services. Meanwhile, Israel's blockade of aid into Gaza between March of this year till earlier this month left several children on the brink of death due to hunger. A UN-backed assessment states that more than 93% of children in Gaza, or about 930,000 children, remain at risk of famine. The tragic loss of Yakin Hamad is a heartbreaking reminder of the human cost of this conflict. Children in Gaza continue to suffer unspeakable losses, with their future uncertain and present torn apart by a brutal war. And that's all we have on the show for today. We will see you again tomorrow at the same time. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Firstpost.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on